As was the case in all parishes when the pandemic caused an abrupt shutdown in mid-March of the Faith Formation Ministry at St. Cecilia Parish in Wilbraham, the First Communion program had to be delayed. Some students were able to continue learning online while parents also stepped up in the remote learning process. As David Martin now reports, First Communion weekend finally did take place in late August when 14 children received their first Holy Communion.
Like all parishes across our region, St. Cecilia Parish in Wilbraham had to postpone their normal First Communion last spring, and recently, when it was finally held, it had fewer people than usual attending. Due to social distancing requirements, the parish had to schedule 3 separate First Communion Masses, 2 on Saturday and 1 on Sunday, and the students were only allowed to invite a limited amount of guests. Rosemary Oldred, the Director of Religious Education at St. Cecilia Parish, explained that since students were restricted bringing 7 guests, the Mass sizes were smaller, but all the important individuals in the children's lives were present. Oldred added the children were not able to participate more in the Mass because of social distancing protocols, so each student awaited his or her moment in the spotlight.
I look forward to the moment when each child goes up and is able to receive the Eucharist, because the look of wonder on their faces really is something special.
The Masses were celebrated by Father John Connors, who became pastor of St. Cecilia on July 1st. Father Connors admitted in his homily that he was a little nervous at experiencing First Communion weekend for the first time in his new parish, but he assured that everyone was prepared to perform with perfection at the Mass.
I think it was an exciting time for the second graders because they had studied all year, in second grade, and typically First Communion's in April or May, and as a result of the delay, they've had to wait. And so they were very excited. There were a lot of photos, and families were excited as well.
Father Connors said parents more concerned about social distancing and safety were given the opportunity to have their children participate in First Communion at a weekday Mass or another Mass as things got better down the road. Oldred said 8 of the 52 students receiving First Communion this year chose that option. Oldred felt encouraged at rehearsal because the children remembered all they had been taught before the COVID crisis shut down churches and faith formation programs, and she was amazed at how prepared they were for First Communion. Oldred said many in the parish have been helpful during this pandemic and are witness of how essential faith is during these difficult times.
It's the most important thing that we've been able to hold on to really since March. And St. Cecilia's has done a good job of trying to keep people engaged as best we can while we were all closed and shut down. And now that we're opening and slowly seeing more and more people come back, I think the most important thing to remember is our faith.
Father Connors told the students they are receiving a great gift in the Eucharist as a reminder that God is always with them and how much He loves them. One student, Caitlin Sheehan, said the challenges of learning this year were worth it to receive First Communion.
I felt really happy going up to receive God.
Cantor for the liturgy was Madison McGrath, a youth choir member accompanied by her mother, Catholic communications reporter Carolee McGrath, whose younger son Joey made his First Communion the day before. Carolee is also Caitlin's religious education teacher. Caitlin was pleased to have her family present at the Mass.
I think it meant a lot to her to be able to be like one of the big kids that gets to go up and receive the Eucharist every Mass, and she has more of an investment in it now that she can be a part of that.
As a parent, Sheehan confirmed that St. Cecilia's religious education teachers are very important role models and find entertaining ways to nurture kids into learning and caring about their faith. She said this weekend was a wonderful way for everyone to be together again and meet their new pastor.
Just because we have to be a little bit apart doesn't mean that we can't still be a community and celebrate our faith together.
Father Connors was grateful that St. Cecilia was able to celebrate First Communion Masses under these circumstances, particularly as a means of encouraging kids to become more engaged in faith formation.
We're looking for as many ways possible to do that creatively, while at the same time maintaining safety requirements. And so we'll be doing that in our religious education program coming up, where it'll be somewhat of a hybrid program to start with. We're also looking at our family liturgies to be a little different than what they have been before, any way we can to keep the youth and the children connected to the faith.
Father Connors posed for pictures with students and their families after the Mass. He expected that the photos with everyone wearing masks, which is for the protection of the children, will serve as a reminder of an unusual period in parish history when viewing them in decades ahead. For Real to Real, I'm David Martin.
And congratulations to all the First Communion classes across our diocese and their families.